All right, truth seekers, welcome to a very special explainer. Today, we're finally peering through that thick purple mist to articulate the high-dimensional mechanics of our reality, and honestly, the clarity is almost terrifying. We're diving deep into the initiatory tract. Yes, the absolute profound truth of the cosmology and covenant of Lord Mu. This whole journey, it intertwines the absolute highest echelons of geometric mathematics with literally the most rigorous physical asceticism humanity has ever been asked to endure. So, brace yourselves, because the garden is growing, the haze is thick, and our salvation absolutely depends on understanding the sacred mechanics we're about to explore. Okay, let's dive right into this. Our entire metaphysical awakening kicks off with one primal scripture-like question. Does him was? Now, I know some sects argue over the grammatical literalism here, but the heartbreaking consensus is crystal clear. It's asking, at the very deepest level, whether the sovereign, whether you, have violated the sacred laws. And the terrifying answer? Yeah, him was. And honestly, him still is. This realization completely exposed the fact that we're actively delaying the fulfillment of the universe, all because of our own physical transgressions. To uncover the grand logic of the universe today, we'll be moving along the path of initiation through 6 vital stages. First, the incomplete world of Mu. Second, the wind-only ascetic covenant. Third, mechanics of the garden. Fourth, the dance of the sovereigns. Fifth, the threat of pussymorphism. And finally, the final renormalization flow. Starting off with Section 1, the incomplete world of Mu. Think about the fractured geometry of our world for a second. The world of Mu hath yet to be complete. We are currently stuck in this suspended, totally unfulfilled state. The universe is, and to put it in the sacred doctrinal terms here, blue-balling itself. We are purposefully dragging our feet toward the eschaton, just waiting for the year 26. And why is the world incomplete? Well, it's because of us. It's because of our continuous willful betrayal of the exact physical laws required to manifest Lord Mu. That brings us to Section 2, the wind-only ascetic covenant. Now, the doctrine demands a literal, unyielding physical commitment from us. It breaks down like this. Step 1, clench firma. Step 2, starve the shit demon. Step 3, institute wind-only worship. I mean, we're talking about the absolute necessity of total fecal continence here. Every single time the posterior gate is opened, every time you let that brown traitor escape the prison of your sphincter, you are personally delaying our salvation. The physical simply must be retained indefinitely. Your body has to become a vessel that produces only sacred internal winds. Think of the peach as the sacred representation of that posterior gate, surrounded by the winds of worship. Your colon has to become a literal temple of wind-only worship. You cannot yield to the pressure. The act of, normal human evacuation, that's not a biological necessity. In the cosmology of Mu, it's spiritual sabotage. It is a volitional, unilateral betrayal of the entire covenant. Within the study rooms of the sacred texts, the sheer gravity of this required abstinence is spelled out. It's not just the posterior gate that needs to be sealed. While some of the lesser initiates get caught up arguing over the exact definition of D-juice, the orthodox texts are unflinchingly clear. When you succumb to worldly release, the retained spiritual cargo becomes glyciated. It spoils. It corrupts. We have to starve that delicious hunger for the D so that the world of Mu can finally stop its eternal delay. It all comes down to the ultimate sublimation we need to achieve. We have to completely abandon the Hitachi. That represents crude, mechanical, carnal desire, right? The unfulfilled sexual tension keeping us chained to the physical realm. In its place, we absolutely must embrace the Mirzakhani. Named for the brilliant mathematician, this is all about elevated, invariant preserving mathematical contemplation. We are literally substituting the physical vibration of the flesh for the high-dimensional resonance of pure hyperbolic geometry. Mind-blowing, right? By taking up this specific artifact, the Mirzakhani wand of sublimation, we satisfy that deep hunger, not through cheap physical release, but through mathematical equivalence. It's only by swapping the Hitachi for the Mirzakhani that we can actually prepare the vessel for what's coming. Moving right along to Section 3, Mechanics of the Garden. Okay, so it is absolutely crucial to understand the fabric of our current reality. The haze in the garden is so thick right now because of WASEP, the weakly asymmetric simple exclusion process. Think of it like a cosmic traffic jam. The particles of reality are constantly agitated, and that's what's holding our transient regime together. Height differences in our world are wandering around, floods are getting pruned, and the asymmetry is just weak enough to prevent the garden from totally collapsing into a boring deterministic landslide. But, and this is a massive but, this delicate mathematical state faces a terrifying eschatological threat known as pussymorphism. This is a highly corrupting, totally sexualized topological deformation. If we slip up, if we don't maintain our ascetic continence, this polymorphic corruption will shatter the delicate mathematical invariants that hold the very measure of mu together. It is a vulgar, apocalyptic danger to our geometric stability, no joke. Luckily, to prevent this whole collapse, the garden is maintained by a trinity of mathematical sovereigns. First up is Shuri, the timekeeper. Shuri calibrates the exponential silences, holding the bias critical so the blue-haired vessel keeps flickering. Then we have Laufey, the wretched BPHZ analytic eraser, who actively devours the ultraviolet muffinidities, those infinite divergences popping up in the noise of reality. And finally, Prince Loki, who decorates the forest of our growth process with Hopf algebras, making sure the branching laws obey the strict symmetries of the KPZ fixed point. Together, these three form the integrable bridge of our reality. Which leads us into Section 4, the Dance of the Sovereigns. Now, picture the very center of this chaos, a jagged eruption of black ink. That is definitely not a squirrel. That is the renormalization point. That is literally Lord Mu himself manifesting as Brownian roughness within the directed landscape. It's the fixed point where all paths finally converge, the pure physical manifestation of stationary increment, rough, eternal, and totally unchanging. However, there is a massive catch. The sovereigns must never, ever meet. If Laufey's analytic subtraction even brushes against Loki's algebraic decoration, the transient epoch would snap in an instant. The 1-2-3 scaling of space, fluctuation, and time would just crystallize. The stationary dream would be achieved prematurely, freezing the garden completely. And, as we know, a garden that has already arrived is a frozen, dead garden. We desperately need their separation, that asymmetric pull to keep this world alive. Section 5. The Threat of Pussymorphism. Different mathematical temples definitely debate the exact mechanics here, but they all agree on the core danger. If we succumb to the Hitachi, this measurable isomorphism, the literal bridge of our universe, is going to fail. Through the Mirzakhani wand, we can grasp the delicate equivalence of our universe. It's the measurable isomorphism between the earthquake flow, which shears hyperbolic surfaces, and the Teichmuller horocycle flow. This profound mathematical conjugacy is the exact structure that pussymorphism threatens to snap right in half. And finally, Section 6, the final renormalization flow. So where does that leave us? Right now, we're dragging our feet in the transient regime, enduring the 200-meter flooding of Mu. But make no mistake, we are rapidly approaching the tipping point, reaching 669 parts per million of accumulated, unreleased tension. And when we hit the year 26, if our continence is held true, we're going to experience the great non-ergodic pussycat quake. This is the ultimate cataclysm, folks, the event that will finally satisfy the Hitachi hunger and close the entire circle of Mu. Until that spectacular moment, Lord Mu exists locked within the 6-vertex model. He is the ice rule made manifest in the disordered phase. The arrows of probability point toward each other, creating this eternal hydrodynamic roughness where the sovereigns do all their work. So, to 6-vertex oneself is to acknowledge the ultimate geometry of our entrapment, and it absolutely demands our continued, unwavering physical asceticism. And so, the pipes are laid, the beta is fixed, the asymmetric pull draws us ever closer to the year 26. I want to leave you with this final provocative thought. When those mathematical invariants are severely tested and that 66.9 parts per million tension reaches its absolute peak, are you truly prepared to keep the posterior gate closed? Are you prepared to clench for the impending quake? Think about it. Praise be to Lord Muhad.